Tang Yao is a unique queen in the video game industry. She wasn't just any gamer, she was the top-ranked player in the national server as Smiling. The crowd cheered, and Tang Yao didn't disappoint, securing an impressive pentakill. When the match ended, her best friend, Jian Yang, was in a bad mood because she broke up with her boyfriend, so she pulled Tang Yao to go shopping with her. As they wandered through a clothing store, Tang Yao suddenly received an invitation from the professional gaming team ZGDX. Overjoyed, she shared the big news with her parents. Her mother dismissed it as a scam and brushed it off. At dinner, Tang Yao broached the subject of pursuing a career in esports, only to have it vetoed by her mother. That night, lying in bed and deep in thought, Tang Yao made her decision and booked a flight to the competition venue. In Shanghai, Tang Yao met Xiao Rui, the manager of ZGDX. As they chatted briefly, the ZGDX team bus returned from an outing, sparking a commotion. Reporters swarmed Yu Ming, asking about his rumored retirement. However, he remained silent and walked away coldly with his teammates. At this moment, Si Cheng's appearance made her heart flutter. He was captain of ZGDX and revered as the god. Later, Tang Yao met Si Cheng at the elevator. Excited, she struggled to reach the elevator buttons due to her short stature and the items in her hands. Unable to watch any longer, Si Cheng stepped in to help. That day, Tang Yao and Jian Yang watched a match. Before the game, the host introduced the CK team members. With the jungler, Jian Yang, garnering the most fanfare, the audience erupted with cheers. When ZGDX was introduced, the crowd's enthusiasm matched. As the players entered the competition zone, Jian Yang noticed his ex-girlfriend in the audience through the broadcast feed. Startled, he nearly spat out his water. The match began, but Jian Yang's distracted state led to repeated mistakes. In a crucial team fight, he misplayed again, leading to the ZGDX team capitalizing on their growing advantage and securing the win. After the game, a frustrated Jian Yang left. He ran into Tang Yao and apologized. But their conversation was strained. In the second match, Jian Yang played his signature champion, unleashing his pent-up anger on ZGDX with a series of stellar plays. The CK team claimed victory, tying the series. Watching her ex-boyfriend regain his pride, Tang Yao pouted, lost in thought. In the decisive third match, ZGDX focused on targeting Jian Yang. The final battle boiled down to a showdown between Jian Yang and Si Cheng, showcasing extraordinary skill. Ultimately, Jian Yang emerged victorious, leading CK to a championship win. While CK celebrated, Yu Ming quietly blamed his injured hand for the team's loss. He returned to the stage and announced his retirement. His heartfelt speech moved the crowd to tears, who cheered him on in admiration. Meanwhile, Tang Yao solidified her resolve and decided to join ZGDX. Jian Yang was unsatisfied and immediately confronted her. But she responded coldly. He suggested that she should join his team. Without him, she would not be as excellent as she is now. She insisted that her dream of fighting professionally had nothing to do with him. As she left, Si Cheng stepped down and praised the new person on his team as really interesting, leaving Jian Yang bitter and speechless. News of ZGDX recruiting a female player spread like wildfire across the internet, sparking heated debates among netizens. Most doubted Tang Yao's qualifications, with online chatter becoming a frenzy. In the ZGDX training room, the team manager appeared and formally introduced Tang Yao to the team, briefing her about the group she'd now be living and working with. Known for his sharp tongue, Si Cheng teased Tang Yao with sarcastic remarks. His irritation was evident due to his aquarium hobby clashing with Tang Yao's love for cats. Xiao Pang took it upon himself to show Tang Yao to her new room. Opening the door, the pink decor left her speechless. Before leaving, he gave her an encouraging pep talk. Once in her room, Tang Yao immediately shared updates about her day online. At night, she called her parents to let them know she was safe. Her father immediately initiated a video call, expressing concerns about her safety and bombarding her with advice. Her mother then joined in, scolding her daughter. Feeling disheartened, Tang Yao ended the call and turned her attention to ZGDX's rulebook. The next morning, she woke to her alarm and headed to the empty living room for food. Suddenly, Xiao Pang wandered into the living room with his blue boxers. She teased him and he screamed and fled. The team members trickled into the living room for breakfast one by one. Like Xiao Pang, Si Cheng hadn't yet realized there was a female team member. His awkwardness filled the air as he pretended to remain unfazed and retreated to his room. Shortly after, team manager Xiao Rui arrived with Yu Ming. He called Tong Yao aside to finalize her contract, officially making her a team member. He then assigned Si Cheng to accompany her on a shopping trip to purchase necessities. Reluctantly, he agreed. Once outside, the two immediately began bickering. Si Cheng's sarcastic jabs soon ignited Tong Yao's temper. At that moment, her college friends Aijia and Liang Sheng appeared, Aijia being the mid-laner and Liang Sheng the support for YQCB. She introduced them to Si Cheng with enthusiasm. But he remained aloof. Once he left, Aijia asked Tong Yao to put in a good word for him with his crush and she promised to help. At the mall, Tong Yao struggled to reach a pair of slippers on the top shelf. Si Cheng reluctantly stepped in to help, teasing her about her height. Their squabbling continued throughout the trip. After went out, the pair were swarmed by fans outside. To avoid drawing attention, Si Cheng introduced Tong Yao as a staff member. Humiliated, she was left holding the fans' phones to take pictures. The team threw a welcome party for Tong Yao at the studio. Yu Ming patiently shared tips and advice from his years of experience. With that, Tong Yao officially embarked on her journey as a professional esports player. Then, she duo queued with Xiao Pang in ranked games. Her exceptional gameplay quickly turned the match into her solo performance, relegating Xiao Pang to a glorified tank, soaking up damage. After the match, CGDX teammates had mixed reviews about her flashy playstyle. Yu Ming and Si Cheng discussed her fight outside the training room. Her playing style is too reckless and lacks team spirit. Yu Ming decided to create a tailored training regimen for her. Si Cheng received a call from his father, complaining about his mother leaving home again. With no choice, he decided to visit his family the next day. The following morning, Yu Ming handed Tong Yao a stack of esports-related books and explained team coordination concepts. The training involved basic operations, which bored her to tears. She yawned through the exercises and eventually sneaked into a game of spider solitaire, only to be caught red-handed by him. Embarrassed, she could only laugh awkwardly. After an exhausting day, Tong Yao collapsed on her bed after a brief chat with her best friend. However, her nap was cut short when Xiao Pang woke her. Claiming Si Cheng had assigned her to a duo queue session with Lao Ke, she saw her ex-boyfriend on the opposing team. On the other side of the screen, Jian Yang also recognized her. Si Cheng stumbled upon Tong Yao's complaining post on her social media. Deciding to teach the rookie a lesson, he joined the opposing team. In the game, Si Cheng caught Tong Yao off guard and effortlessly killed her with a combination attack under the tower. Seething with jealousy, Jian Yang took the first opportunity to eliminate Si Cheng in retaliation. Xiao Pang tried to distract Si Cheng by bringing Tong Yao's cat into the room, hoping it would trigger his concern for his fish. However, he remained unfazed, continuing to dominate Tong Yao mercilessly. The game ended, and the drama quickly made its way onto social media. Rumors of Jian Yang's lingering feelings for Tong Yao and alleged romantic tension between ZGDX's double carries. Even Tong Yao's parents saw the posts and called to interrogate their daughter. Jian Yang shared his past with Tong Yao with his teammates. He recounted how he had taught her to play esports. Their laughter-filled days, and their eventual breakup due to his focus on his career and growing emotional distance. His teammates felt sorry for this beautiful love. On the other hand, Tong Yao shared her side of the story with Si Cheng, explaining everything candidly. Instead of blaming her, he simply advised her to focus on her performance. When he noticed the baseless criticism Tong Yao faced online, he unexpectedly held her hand to reassure her, making her blush. At that moment, she received a message from Jian Yang asking for reconciliation. Curious about the messages on her phone, Si Cheng subtly tried to peek at her phone under the pretense of grabbing fruit but failed. Tong Yao firmly rejected Jian Yang's plea for reconciliation via text, disappointing him. Back at the ZGDX base, with everyone else gone, Lao Ke started dancing alone with headphones on, his funny and exaggerated moves lightening the mood. Meanwhile, Tong Yao's parents unexpectedly arrived at the base. Seeing no one around, they awkwardly walked in to catch Lao Ke mid-dance. Both sides froze in embarrassment. On the way back, Tong Yao chatted with Xiao Pang about Si Cheng, learning for the first time that he was the eldest son of the Lu group. When Si Cheng overheard their gossip and turned to ask what they were saying, Xiao Pang panicked, quickly scurrying away. Left alone, Tong Yao and Si Cheng started talking about family matters. He suddenly reached out and gently pinched her ear. She froze in place, feeling as if she had been electrified. The group arrived at the ZGDX training base entrance, only to find Tong Yao's parents standing there. Upon discovering that Tong Yao had been drinking, her mother scolded her relentlessly. Meanwhile, Xiao Pang took Tong Yao's father on a base tour, diverting his attention and leaving the mother and daughter to their heated exchange. After a heartfelt conversation, Tong Yao led her parents to rest. Sitting down together, the three shared an emotional talk that moved her mother. While they were talking, Si Cheng knocked on Tong Yao's door, introducing himself to her parents. Her parents carefully sized up their daughter's rumored boyfriend. Seeing Si Cheng's polite demeanor and striking appearance, they couldn't help but smile with satisfaction. When Tong Yao woke up the next morning and brought her parents downstairs, she was shocked by the scene before her. Xiao Pang enthusiastically greeted them and briefly introduced the breakfast spread on the table before leaving with a smile. Even Lao Kei, typically reserved, warmly said hello. Nearby, Lao Mao was lifting a dumbbell, pretending to work out while reciting English phrases. Si Cheng and Yu Meng walked in mid-discussion about game strategies. Upon seeing Tong Yao's parents, they stopped to greet them politely. After breakfast, she accompanied her parents to their car. While waiting for their ride, her mother reminded her of a few things and subtly inquired about Si Cheng's family background. As her parents left, she turned around to find Si Cheng standing right behind her. Amid the teasing and laughter, Xiao Rui entered to announce that training would now start at 9 a.m. sharp, prompting collective groans from the team. The next morning, everyone was dragged out of bed by Xiao Rui for morning exercises. Bleary-eyed and yawning, the team reluctantly followed Lao Mao's lead for the workout. Back at the base, Si Cheng started his livestream. Unaware, Tong Yao approached him for a chat, causing the livestream audience to explode excitedly. Xiao Rui took the opportunity to discuss streaming arrangements with her, and after some hesitation, she reluctantly agreed to his request. She sent a message to her friend Jin Yang for help. Not long after, a sports car arrived at the base. Dressed in a casual t-shirt and denim shorts, Jin Yang exuded charm and confidence. Smitten by her beauty, Lao Mao began showing off awkwardly. It turned out Tong Yao had called Jin Yang over to help her with makeup. As they chatted and prepared, Si Cheng caught a glimpse of Tong Yao's post-makeup and couldn't take his eyes off her. She began her livestream. With nothing better to do, Si Cheng started teasing her, reading comments aloud and making sarcastic remarks. Distracted, Tong Yao struggled to perform and lost her first match. Frustrated, she couldn't out-argue him and left her seat in a huff. Elsewhere, TAT's Jungle made bold claims in an interview, mocking ZGDX as cowards. His remarks sparked heated discussions among fans. The owner of ZGDX issued a directive to Xiao Rui to arrange a match against TAT. Despite Xiao Rui's insistence, Si Cheng strongly opposed the idea, fearing the impact on Tong Yao's confidence, and the two argued. Eventually, Si Cheng revealed his concerns, highlighting Atai's formidable skills. Convinced, Xiao Rui reluctantly agreed to hold off. They caught the rest of the team eavesdropping outside. Proud and determined, Tong Yao declared her readiness to face Atai. During the night scrimmage, Si Cheng reminded Tong Yao to be cautious of Atai. However, Atai's superior skill overwhelmed her, leading to an early defeat. The team tried to console her, but the loss affected her confidence. Staring at the gray screen, her emotions were in turmoil. After the match, Tong Yao stubbornly pretended to be fine. While the others slept late at night, she started another solo game. Still rattled by the earlier loss, she struggled to focus and lost again, sinking further into frustration and self-doubt. Si Cheng couldn't stop worrying about Tong Yao. He woke up and went downstairs to find her still playing tirelessly. He brought her a glass of milk. To stop her from pushing herself too hard, he gently placed his hand over her eyes. That was all it took. Tong Yao, who had been holding it together all night, broke down in tears. The pent-up frustration and sadness poured out. Si Cheng softly touched her head, gently comforting the emotionally overwhelmed Tong Yao. The results of the previous night's scrimmage quickly spread online, and the criticism was overwhelmingly directed at Tong Yao. The team gathered at the ZGDX training base to discuss handling the wave of hateful comments flooding the internet. Meanwhile, the usually aloof Si Cheng fought back by replying to the comments one by one on his computer. Downstairs, the team saw Tong Yao stumble downstairs like a zombie. They stood up to comfort her, but Tong Yao coldly brushed them off and decided to take a walk. She went to a bar with her best friend. Not long after they sat down, a drunk man started harassing them. At that moment, Aijia appeared and chased the man away, playing the hero role. However, Jin Yang was unimpressed. As he tried to act cute, Jin Yang, already annoyed, vented her frustration on him. He hurriedly called Jian Yang to complain about the situation. Back at the ZGDX base, Sicheng kept glancing at the clock and, by 11 p.m., grew increasingly worried. Upon receiving a text from Jin Yang, he immediately headed to the bar. Jian Yang arrived at the bar first and found Tong Yao completely drunk. Taking the opportunity, Jian Yang poured his heart out to her. However, whether she was genuinely drunk or pretending, she didn't respond directly to his plea to get back together. At that moment, Sicheng arrived at the bar, held her hand with his usual domineering presence and left. As Jian Yang prepared to follow them, Jin Yang stopped him with a few words that left him speechless. He could only watch as Sicheng took Tong Yao away. On the way back to the base, he carried Tong Yao on his back as they chatted. When they arrived, he set her down and went to buy hangover medicine. But she grabbed his hand. Her playful yet stubborn behavior made Sicheng chuckle helplessly. As soon as he left, Tong Yao wandered back into the base alone. There, she ran into Lu Yu, dressed entirely in red, mistaking him for a ghost. She panicked and bolted. She saw Sicheng returning and leapt into his arms. Helpless against the drunken Tong Yao, he carried her back to the base. This scene didn't escape Lu Yu's notice, and it was then that she learned the two were brothers. The group gathered to chat, with Lu Yu holding center stage and giving a speech, much to everyone's exasperation. Meanwhile, the still drunken Tong Yao misheard the conversation and thought the team was planning to fire her. She frantically clung to Sicheng, apologizing profusely. In a final act of drunken absurdity, Tong Yao handed out used tissues as parting gifts to everyone, leaving the entire group speechless. Early in the morning, Tong Yao groggily woke up, freshened up briefly, and headed downstairs. She ran into Xiao Rui, who teased her. Slowly, the previous night's events came flooding back, leaving her mortified. A while later, wearing a mask to hide her face, Tong Yao crept out of her room and sat at her computer desk. Sicheng opened the fridge and found his yogurt missing. He stormed over to confront Tong Yao, described her embarrassing behavior from the night before, and sternly scolded her. Tong Yao retreated to her room and called Jin Yang. Their conversation was interrupted when Aijia suddenly emerged from a bathtub, prompting an awkward Jin Yang to hang up hastily. Afterward, Tong Yao noticed a message from Jian Yang but decided not to reply. By lunchtime, everyone gathered at the table for a meal. Seeing Lu Yu seated there, Xiao Peng and Lao Ke silently took their food and left. Slower to react, Lao Mao eventually realized what was happening and followed suit. That night, Lu Yu used her game account to teach a Tai A lesson, playing ranked games with other ZGDX members. In this match, he was laning against a Tai, using the exact same strategy and composition Tong Yao had used before. As the game progressed, Tong Yao watched closely. ZGDX secured a decisive victory, destroying a Tai's nexus. Excited by the win, Tong Yao praised Lu Yu. However, Xiao Peng quickly poured cold water on the mood, accusing Lu Yu of why Yu Ming got injured. Xiao Peng also declared he would never team up with Lu Yu. After saying his piece, he stormed off in anger. The tense atmosphere prompted Sicheng to follow and check on Xiao Peng. Feeling guilty, Lu Yu left the room in silence, curious about what she had overheard. Tong Yao searched online for ZGDX's history. She discovered that the team had once been poised to win the championship but had unexpectedly withdrawn from the finals amidst public outrage. At the center of this scandal were Lu Yu and Yu Ming. As she went downstairs to grab a drink, she overheard Xiao Peng and Lao Ke talking. She stepped in to defend Lu Yu, but the two remained unmoved in their negative opinions. The next morning, Tong Yao was woken by a phone call from Jin Yang. Someone had leaked an old video online, sparking widespread controversy. ZGDX quickly became the target of harsh criticism. An internal meeting was called, where Xiao Rui analyzed the situation and concluded that the leak was an inside job. At this moment, Xiao Peng stood up and admitted he was responsible. He lashed out at Lu Yu with a barrage of accusations. Despite Yu Ming stepping in to defend Lu Yu, Xiao Peng was still angry. Lu Yu lost his temper, and the two nearly came to blows before being separated by others. Tong Yao took Xiao Peng outside for some fresh air. Calming down, he recounted the past to her. During a post-match celebration, ZGDX played a friendly match against another team. After losing, the opposing team disrespected ZGDX, refusing to acknowledge their victory or toast with them, even mocking Sicheng, trying to defend his brother's honor. Lu Yu drank an entire bucket of alcohol. Later, while in the restroom, Lu Yu overheard the other team badmouthing Sicheng and accusing Lu Yu of being a nepotism hire. Drunk and furious, Lu Yu struck one of them with a bottle, triggering a brawl. Yu Ming happened to pass by, stepped in to protect Lu Yu, and ended up with a severe wrist injury. The injury ultimately forced Yu Ming to retire from professional gaming. Hearing this, Tong Yao finally understood the whole story. Just then, Jin Yang called to inform her that Aijia was live streaming and trying to clear Lu Yu's name. He revealed that it was Ajay who initiated the conflict. Lu Yu only reacted violently after overhearing Ajiyi's insults, which led to the events Xiao Pang had previously described. Upon hearing the truth, the team members realized they had misunderstood Lu Yu. Lao Ke apologized for his behavior, and the group finally reconciled. The next day, Tong Yao spent the day shopping with Jin Yang. They browsed lingerie, got massages, and treated themselves to new hairstyles and manicures. Back at the base, Tong Yao found Lu Yu at her computer again. Angry, she confronted him. During their squabble over snacks, Si Cheng noticed her new look. He called her outside for a talk. He began lecturing her about her manicure and eyelashes. Suddenly, he leaned in close and complained that the strong smell of perfume could suffocate his teammates. Lu Yu sneakily captured the moment on his phone. Realizing his mischievous brother was up to no good, Si Cheng threw his shoe at Lu Yu, hitting him squarely. That night, Tong Yao video called Jin Yang. During their conversation, Jin Yang speculated that Si Cheng might have feelings for Tong Yao. She recalled the moments when she was with him and felt that Jin Yang's guess made sense. The next morning, the team received their new uniforms. Excited, they tried them on, chatting and laughing. Si Cheng took the opportunity to tease Tong Yao, calling her a child. Frustrated, she stormed back to her room. The ZGDX team arrived at the photoshoot location. The makeup artists began preparing everyone, but Tong Yao was the only girl, so her makeup took longer. The other team members started their photo sessions first. Before long, they had almost completed their individual shots, but Tong Yao still hadn't appeared. Xiao Rui decided to send Si Cheng to check on her. He pushed open the door to the dressing room, only to find her in the middle of changing clothes. The two froze in awkward silence before he hastily backed out, his heart racing. When Tong Yao finally emerged, she angrily confronted him about barging in. But surprisingly, he sincerely apologized. She joined the photo shoot, and Xiao Rui suggested taking group shots with her. Lu Yu went first, followed by Si Cheng. Due to the height difference, the studio brought a stool, and the two began posing. Watching the shoot, the other team members joked that it looked like wedding photos, making Si Cheng and Tong Yao uncomfortable. Soon, the photos were posted on social media. Tong Yao curiously went to take a look and enlarged the photo of her and Si Cheng. That evening, she talked with Jin Yang, who eagerly probed for gossip about her and Si Cheng while venting about her boyfriend. After seeing her friend off, Tong Yao returned to her room and argued with Si Cheng about his condescending remarks. Suddenly, he leaned in close, his face near her ear, startling her so much she backed away. Clutching the couch tightly, Si Cheng smirked and continued teasing her. That night, Tong Yao had a bizarre dream where she and Lu Sicheng were rabbits, with Lu Sicheng chasing her before pinning her down and repeating his earlier taunts. She woke up startled, her mind inexplicably filled with thoughts of him. The next day, the ZGDX team gathered for training. Xiao Rui and Yu Ming announced an upcoming scrim against YQCB and revealed that Tong Yao would be starting. The match began, with YQCB's new marksman clearly well prepared, teaming up with their mid laner to take down Si Cheng early. The game was fiercely competitive, with both sides trading blows. But Si Cheng's decisive moves ultimately turned the tide. ZGDX won over YQCB. After the match, while the team celebrated, Si Cheng remained calm. He simply said, "The Pope is coming," before walking away. Curious, Tong Yao asked the others about Si Cheng's history with the Pope. Meanwhile, Si Cheng sat alone, fiddling with a Rubik's Cube as he reflected on his time playing professionally in Korea and his first encounter with the Pope. In Korea, he was intensely focused on training while the Pope quietly observed from behind. After the game ended, the Pope handed Si Cheng a water bottle and complimented his performance. Due to their striking similarities, Korean fans nicknamed them Light and Shadow. As Si Cheng's reputation grew, he learned about the burgeoning esports scene in China and decided to return to his country. Before parting, the Pope gifted him a Rubik's Cube they often played with together. Si Cheng's thoughts were interrupted by a phone call from Liang Sheng of a neighboring team. The Pope, who had just arrived in China, had gotten lost, and Liang Sheng needed help locating him. As he headed out, Tong Yao approached him with concern, but he brushed her off with his usual sarcasm. Feeling dismissed, she returned to her seat. Visibly annoyed, Cheng traced the location of a nearby arcade. Sure enough, he found the Pope in front of a claw machine. The two had a brief conversation. Seeing Tong Yao and Liang Sheng approaching, Cheng and the Pope paused their chat. The Pope handed all the stuffed toys from the claw machine to Liang Sheng, who had just returned from buying water. Meanwhile, Cheng hung one stuffed toy around Tong Yao's neck. With heavy rain pouring outside, he took off his jacket and draped it over Tong Yao. The four of them walked back to the base together. The Pope fiddled with the Rubik's Cube he had given Cheng and reminisced about their championship-winning days, his eyes glinting with determination. The draw ceremony began soon after, hosted by Jin Yang and a male co-host. When it was CK's turn to draw, Jian Yang made a provocative move gesture towards ZGDX before stepping onto the stage. Cheng went up next. Looking visibly unwell, Tong Yao worried. She asked about his condition, but he brushed it off. After the draw, they returned to their base. Lu Yu and Yu Meng exchanged casual remarks while in her room. The day of the match arrived, and a large audience gathered at the venue. Tong Yao's parents watched from home. The CK team was introduced first, followed by ZGDX. As the team was about to step onto the stage, Tong Yao froze in nervousness. Noticing her hesitation, Cheng turned back, gently patted her head, and led her forward. Just before the match started, Tong Yao suddenly had a stomachache. Unaware that backstage microphones were recording, she loudly complained about needing to use the restroom. As the pain worsened, she considered backing out but had no choice but to continue the match. After 3 intense matches, Team ZGDX won convincingly against Team CK. They ascended the stage to wave at the cheering crowd. During the post-match interview, Tong Yao and Cheng kept their responses brief before returning to the lounge. At the base, Cheng opted to go home early, leaving the rest of the team to prepare for the evening's carnival. Feeling unwell herself, Tong Yao still left as well. Xiao Rui arranged for the same driver to take her and Cheng home. Back at the base, Tong Yao received a message from Xiao Rui asking her to bring Cheng his medicine. She reluctantly complied, delivering both water and medicine. She was met with his complaining that the water was too hot. Already irritated from her period, she snapped and unleashing a tirade at him. Startled, he begrudgingly complied with her demands. Hungry but unable to find suitable takeout options, Tong Yao made porridge. As she went downstairs to rinse the rice, a sharp pain hit her abdomen, leaving her doubled over. Noticing her struggle, Cheng stepped in to finish preparing the porridge, gently patting her head after completing the task. He lightly touched her stomach, causing her to blush furiously. Scolding her for not using a hot pack, he went to fetch one. After searching, he returned with a hot pack featuring his cartoon likeness. Feeling slightly better with the warmth, she joined Cheng at the table for a quiet meal before they both went upstairs to rest. Later that evening, the rest of ZGDX returned from the carnival. Xiao Pang rushed upstairs to check on the duo, only to come running back down in a flustered state, gesturing wildly. Lu Yu opened the door, froze briefly, and quickly shut it again. Now even more curious, the others pressed him for details, but he refused to speak. Cheng woke up surprised to see Tong Yao lying next to him. Hearing Xiao Rui's voice calling from outside, he whispered to Tong Yao to stay silent and stepped out of the room alone. As soon as he opened the door, the rest of the team grinned mischievously and began teasing him. Unbothered, Cheng casually made up an excuse to send them away. Inside the room, Tong Yao was mortified. She hid under a blanket on the floor. Seeing this, he yanked the blanket off her, teasing her with playful remarks that could easily be mistaken for the truth. She said that last night, she was sleepwalking and accidentally entered his room without knowing it. He found her reactions amusing and climbed back onto the bed to inspect the bedding. Worried he might discover something embarrassing, Tong Yao tried to stop him. In the ensuing struggle, they lost their balance, and she ended up falling onto him. The room fell into an awkward silence. Just then, Xiao Pang barged in, froze in shock and quickly backed out, pretending he hadn't seen anything. After Xiao Pang left, she awkwardly excused herself and left the room. At CK's base, Jian Yang noticed Tong Yao's stream and immediately smiled. Sitting nearby, Cheng began disrupting her stream with witty comments and suggestive remarks, even dropping a self-revealing quip that left the audience buzzing. Watching this unfold, Jian Yang grew increasingly irritated and eventually slammed his phone shut. The news of the two supposedly sharing a bedspread is like a hot search online. That evening, Jian Yang rushed to ZGDX's base to confront Tong Yao. When she received his call, she hurried outside. Meeting Jian Yang, she was taken aback when he hugged her tightly. She quickly pushed him away. He tried to explain his past mistakes, but she was unmoved. Interrupting their conversation, Si Cheng used the excuse of borrowing money to step in, delivering a pointed remark to Jian Yang. Despite his interference, Jian Yang eventually persuaded Tong Yao to give their relationship a fresh start as friends. She relented, unblocking him from her blacklist, and they parted ways with a friendly hug. On her way back, Tong Yao encountered Si Cheng, who was visibly annoyed and waiting by the roadside. Jealous, he began questioning her, but she felt too absurd to answer his question. Tong Yao returned to her room and noticed the online discussions spiraling out of control. She sank into deep thought. She dreamt of marrying Si Cheng. Waking up flustered and unable to shake the vivid image from her mind, she returned to her desk, diving into research on their upcoming opponents and jotting down notes late into the night. The next morning, Yu Ming and Xiao Rui discovered her detailed notes. They praised her efforts before engaging in light-hearted banter. On the bus to the competition venue, Si Cheng saw Tong Yao's notes and called Lao Ke over to analyze them. Upon arriving, both teams took their positions, and the match commenced. The game began with intense focus from both sides. With Tong Yao's careful analysis beforehand, her teammates easily defeated the King team. In the second game, the King team, lacking adjustments, fared no better. CGDX closed out the match effortlessly, securing a 2-0 victory. Post-match, the teams exchanged handshakes. Guang expressed his admiration to Si Cheng for their preparation. However, Si Cheng attributed the success to Tong Yao's efforts, further elevating her reputation in Guang's eyes. Back in the lounge, CGDX discussed online reactions. Tong Yao noticed harsh criticism aimed at Guang and, feeling conflicted, questioned why fans were so ruthless. Her teammates explained the brutal reality of esports. In the stairwell, she found Guang crying alone. She comforted him, and he opened up about his self-doubt and frustration. Tong Yao shared her own experiences of being underestimated and outplayed, recounting a particularly harsh defeat by the renowned A Tai. Reassured, he thanked Tong Yao. Outside, they ran into Si Cheng, who was visibly annoyed. She ignored his calls and spent time alone with another team player. Overwhelmed, she had no choice but to let him vent his anger on her. At the barbecue celebration, the team enjoyed themselves, eating and drinking to their heart's content. Si Cheng received a call from his mother. Piquing Tong Yao's curiosity, she overheard snippets and mistakenly assumed he had a girlfriend. Jealous and flustered, she excused herself to the restroom. Upon back, Si Cheng was still on the phone. Unable to dissuade her, he reluctantly agreed to meet the woman. At the meeting spot, he met Su Luo, a beautiful and soft-spoken woman. His intention was to end the blind date quickly, but Su Luo was captivated by his looks. They stopped by a food stall to buy Tong Yao's favorite snack, octopus balls. Si Cheng's presence drew attention, with people praising his appearance, much to Su Luo's delight. Just as they were about to leave, it started raining. Displaying his gentlemanly side, he ran to get the car, further impressing Su Luo. However, during the drive, he made his feelings clear, politely rejecting her. Disappointed but graceful, Su Luo accepted his decision. Back at the base, Tong Yao anxiously scrolled through match videos. Lu Yu teased her, commenting sly about Si Cheng's blind date. She declined Lu Yu's invitation for a game and retreated to her room under the pretense of being tired. Soon after, Si Cheng returned to the base. Hearing the sound of his car, she rushed downstairs. Realizing her eagerness, she awkwardly asked him a simple question before leaving. However, Si Cheng handed her favorite snack, instantly lifting her mood. The next match day arrived. Before the game, the team watched replay highlights backstage. The event's big screen showed a clip of her memorable line during a stomachache incident, making her embarrassed. The crowd erupted in laughter and she wished she could disappear. The game began with both teams trading blows evenly across lanes. Soon, FNC's jungler, Kun, started targeting the mid lane relentlessly, repeatedly knocking out Tong Yao and disrupting her rhythm. Despite her struggles, the rest of ZGDX took advantage to grow stronger. Although victorious, Tong Yao was still upset with her performance and returned to the base after the match. Kun surprised everyone by showing up at the door. He walked straight toward Tong Yao and proposed they do a live stream together to interact with fans. Watching this unfold, Si Cheng's irritation was palpable. He stepped in to stop Kun, but he managed to get Tong Yao's WeChat contact. In the following game, Kun continued to target Tong Yao. But this time, an agitated Si Cheng shifted his focus entirely onto Kun. He pulled off a brilliant move, taking Kun down instantly. Fueled by his anger, his gameplay became even more aggressive, leading ZGDX to another victory. After the match, the team was about to leave when they found Kun waiting near their team bus. With a cheerful greeting, he shamelessly joined them on the bus. He sat next to Tong Yao. Sensing his intentions, Si Cheng swapped seats with Xiao Pang to sit beside Tong Yao. Meanwhile, Kun sent messages to Tong Yao on his phone. Annoyed by his flirting, she complained to Si Cheng, prompting him to declare in Korean that Tong Yao was his woman. Kun was left dumbfounded, his eyes a mix of disbelief and dejection. The next morning, Si Cheng was delighted to find a heart-shaped breakfast prepared by Tong Yao. When she appeared, his attitude was different from his usual demeanor. The two enjoyed a simple, pleasant conversation as they ate together. Before the next match, Su Luo arrived at the venue with a large bouquet of roses, drawing considerable attention. From the stage, Tong Yao noticed the roses and curiously looked toward the audience. Misinterpreting her gaze as directed at Kun, Si Cheng's jealousy flared. He turned Tong Yao's head toward him, locking eyes with her in an intense, silent confrontation. He reminded her to focus on the game, or he would give her a French kiss in front of Kun. The game ended quickly, with ZGDX securing an easy victory. Holding a bouquet of roses, Su Luo prepared to go on stage. Spotting this, Tong Yao tugged at Si Cheng's sleeve. He coldly asked her what ups, leaving her flustered and hurriedly retreating to the lounge. A short while later, he returned, holding the enormous bouquet of flowers. His teammates were astonished. The team began spreading rumors and the team teasing Tong Yao endlessly. The scene escalated when Kun arrived with a gift of nuts. Seeing him, Si Cheng's expression darkened noticeably. Naturally, the team shifted their teasing to Sicheng, who was irritated and got up and left. In the next match, ZGDX emerged victorious again. As the team descended the stage, Xiao Pang accidentally stepped on the back of Tong Yao's shoe, causing her to stumble. Quick to react, Si Cheng turned around and caught her, lifting her into a princess carry. The audience erupted in excitement at their intimate interaction while Su Luo stormed off angrily. The victorious ZGDX team went shoe shopping, where the ever-generous Si Cheng straightforwardly asked his teammates for their shoe sizes. As they left the store, they ran into Su Luo. She warmly invited Si Cheng to dinner, but he coldly rejected her. The team walked past her without a second glance. Back at the base, Si Cheng was live streaming, answering fans' questions in his usual straightforward manner. When a fan asked about his ideal type, he suddenly suggested a solo match against Tong Yao. Hearing this, the teammates got excited, and the fans online went wild. They agreed to a bet. The loser would treat the winner to a meal. The solo match began. However, he began to go easy on Tong Yao, allowing her to take him down in turn. The score eventually tied at 2-2, bringing the game to a decisive final round. With her teammates cheering her on, Tong Yao managed to secure the win, partly thanks to his intentional leniency. Just then, Su Luo called him, asking to meet one last time. The previously cheerful Tong Yao immediately became crestfallen and returned to her seat in low spirits. She timidly expressed her opposition to Si Cheng meeting Su Luo. His demeanor softened noticeably. Si Cheng went out to meet Su Luo. He bluntly rejected her feelings. Looking at the affectionate couple beside him, Su Luo kept comparing herself to them. Si Cheng's point of view was very clear. She was not the person he liked. The team was waiting for Si Cheng to return. When he was delayed, everyone started complaining. Tong Yao decided to go out to find him. Si Cheng was taken aback by her rushing toward him. After a few words, he took her to a place to buy crayfish. While paying, the store clerk mentioned Tong Yao's gaze towards Si Cheng. He smiled, secretly pleased. As they stepped outside, he felt pain in his hand and had to take a break. Seeing this, she quickly grabbed the crayfish from him and went to the car. When she called out to him, he quickly caught up with her and gave her a playful head pat, which left her stunned. On the way back, she seemed to want to talk to him about something, but every time she was about to speak, she hesitated. Seeing her nervousness, he turned on some music and encouraged her to relax. When they returned to the base, the team gathered to eat while Xiao Pang live-streamed the fun for the fans. Tong Yao noticed that Cheng hadn't touched the food yet, so she offered him a piece. However, he took it with his mouth, which made the teammates tease them even more. Just as they were bantering, Xiao Rui arrived to talk to Cheng about something. After a brief discussion, Cheng agreed to attend a comic convention. The ZGDX team flew to the event early the next morning, and Xiao Rui thoughtfully brought breakfast for everyone. While they were happily eating, a group of fans flooded in, requesting autographs. Initially, Cheng and Tong Yao were willing to oblige, but it turned out to be a trap. One fan repeatedly asked for autographs from ZGDX members. Realizing what was happening, Tong Yao alerted Xiao Rui, who immediately ordered the fan to leave. The rejected fan posted the incident online, leading to negative rumors about Tong Yao being arrogant. Realizing that the upcoming event was unsuitable for the group, Xiao Rui tactfully refused the organizers. The staff member who had been rejected responded with sarcasm, and the situation escalated into a confrontation. Feeling frustrated, Tong Yao stepped forward and pushed the organizer. Cheng intervened, trying to stop the conflict. Because of this incident, Tong Yao was left alone in the changing room. Meanwhile, Cheng secretly recorded some of the interactions during the competition. Conversely, the female organizer began to stir up the situation online, and clueless netizens started criticizing Tong Yao. The situation spiraled further out of control, and eventually, Tong Yao was summoned for a meeting with the board of directors. To everyone's surprise, the board chairwoman was Cheng's mother. She immediately reprimanded Xiao Rui and, during the discussion, it was decided that Tong Yao would be banned for one match. After the meeting, Cheng stayed behind to talk privately with his mother. Back at the base, everyone started practicing for the upcoming competition. Tong Yao felt lost because Cheng didn't care about her. Yu Ming comforted her. He revealed that Cheng was secretly protecting her and reminded her not to think too much. The next day, ZGDX faced off against Black Light. Lu Yu replaced Tong Yao, and she sat in the waiting room with Xiao Rui. The match began. Lu Yu confidently defeated her opponent, leaving Black Light bewildered. Under Cheng's command, ZGDX won easily. Tong Yao felt a little jealous of Lu Yu's skill. Cheng stepped in to question her. It seemed like the fans were misjudging him when he decided to choose her over Lu Yu for ZGDX. He asked her to give him a reason why he felt he was right to choose her. Seeing her confused, he gave her hints about every little detail during the battle. She realized that the most important reason was the spirit of solidarity and tact. Her ban from the competition had seriously affected the team. Fortunately, ZGDX had met a weak team today, so they won so easily. Tong Yao began to feel guilty. It was time for the competition, and he felt disappointed that she had nothing to say. Suddenly, she pulled his hand back and bluntly said that she really wanted to stand at the top of the world with the team. He reminded her that when protecting others, she must first protect herself. After saying that, he patted her head and continued fighting. She asked him why he had ignored her these past few days. He said that he was afraid of being soft-hearted, which made her feel even more guilty. The next match began. Lu Yu adjusted his strategy, actively cooperating with ZGDX teammates. Victory is too easy for them. As the ZGDX team exited the base, they were bombarded with questions from reporters. Tong Yao was flustered, but Cheng stepped in to protect her. His commanding aura and sharp words silenced the reporters almost instantly. The team boarded a bus to head back. Midway, Cheng decided to get off the bus for some reason. Before leaving, he glanced at the sleeping Tong Yao, his gaze soft and full of affection. Back at the base, Xiao Pang prepared to feed fish but discovered that one of Cheng's fish was missing. In a panic, Xiao Pang and Tong Yao discussed what to do. When Cheng unexpectedly returned, she tried to cover up their mistake, and Xiao Pang played along. But a single sharp look from his silenced them both. Realizing one of his fish had disappeared, his expression darkened. After a long silence, he handed Tong Yao an ergo and walked off. The next morning, worried about dabbing, Tong Yao woke up early to check. She found Cheng sleeping on the couch. Concerned he might catch a cold, she tried to cover him with a blanket. Thinking it was dabbing, Cheng instinctively hugged her tightly. When Cheng woke up and realized it was Tong Yao, he was startled. After the argument, she suggested going to the market to buy him a goldfish in compensation. Back in their rooms, both carefully dressed as if for a date. Seeing him looking sharp, Xiao Rui and Xiao Peng were taken aback, and the rest of the team gathered curiously to watch them leave. At the flower market, a passerby accidentally bumped into Tong Yao. Unsteady in her rarely worn heels, she nearly fell, but Si Cheng quickly caught her. Surrounded by falling petals, the two locked eyes. Feeling embarrassed, she hurried off while Si Cheng smiled at her retreating, unsteady figure. At a goldfish stall, the shop owner, seeing the pair bickering, assumed they were a couple and advised Si Cheng not to argue with his girlfriend. After paying, Tong Yao turned around to find him gone. Suddenly, he appeared and held her hand. Startled but quickly recovering, she let herself be led by him. They stopped at a cat stall, where they inadvertently witnessed Tyrone cheating on his partner. However, Si Cheng seemed indifferent. He took Tong Yao to eat and went to the movie theater. Tyrone and the woman he was cheating with also showed up at the theater. After the movie, fans gathered outside, excited to see them. Tong Yao was shy and hid behind Si Cheng. Just as he was about to say something, Tong Yao interrupted with her own response. Dissatisfied with her answer, he seemed slightly annoyed. Shortly after, CGDX's team discovered online accusations exposing Tyrone's misdeeds, which soon snowballed into a major scandal. The fallout also implicated Korean imports associated with Tyrone, sparking heated discussions among ZGDX's players. Meanwhile, Guoguo reflected on her past with Tyrone. Seeing herself being attacked by his fans online, she fell into despair, packed her belongings, and left her residence. On the way to their next match, Tong Yao spotted Guoguo standing alone in the rain. Without hesitation, she approached and offered Guoguo an umbrella. She responded neutrally to Guoguo's questions, handed her the umbrella, and walked away in the rain. Back in the waiting room, Si Cheng noticed Tong Yao's soaked appearance and immediately handed her a towel. Gently, he asked about what had happened. Listening to her confusion and doubts, he took the time to comfort her. For the first time, he openly expressed his feelings, confessing his love and reassuring her of his unwavering support. Faced with Si Cheng's sudden confession, she froze briefly before awkwardly raising her voice to deflect. During an interview, Tong Yao's praise of the Korean player triggered Si Cheng's jealousy, prompting him to offer a contrary opinion. Their contrasting answers and subtle bickering during the host's questions created a palpable sense of competition between them. On the way back, she reminisced about her interactions with Si Cheng. Unable to sort out her feelings for him, she sat at her desk, lost in thought. Hearing the sound of his car, she hurried downstairs. She was surprised to see the cat he had hidden in his coat. He had gone to the trouble of bringing it here from DQ5 just to please her. Tong Yao hugged him tightly and finally agreed to his earlier confession. He pulled her into a tight embrace, teasing her as she shyly hid in his arms. Back at the ZGDX base, noticing Tong Yao was still awake, Si Cheng mischievously went upstairs. He slipped into her room and immediately hugged her. He then boldly kissed her on the cheek, his playful remarks earning him a flustered scolding as she chased him out of the room. The following morning, she came downstairs dressed elegantly, catching Xiao Rui and Xiao Peng's attention. The two immediately began betting on the reason. And sure enough, Si Cheng appeared shortly after. The team surrounded them, questioning their plans. After some quick excuses, the pair managed to leave. They arrived at a mall, and Sicheng noticed her interest in a claw machine, so he decided to show off. His gaming skills drew a crowd, and after an intense session, he emerged victorious with a bag full of plushies. While chatting, Tong Yao spotted some of her fans nearby and instinctively pulled away from Si Cheng. He seemed dissatisfied with her behavior just now. Irritated, he bought masks for both of them. When Tong Yao tried to explain her reaction, he shared his perspective. He doesn't care how fans criticize him. The most important thing is that he feels happy. Deeply moving her, she stood on tiptoe and kissed him. Later, they went to a deserted cinema. Taking advantage of the privacy, Si Cheng asked for a deep kiss but she refused. He forced a kiss on her until she pushed him away. He complained because he was unsatisfied, so she kissed him passionately. Back at the base, the team discussed an upcoming trip to Xiamen. After some back and forth, Si Cheng agreed, with Tong Yao's approval sealing the decision. Upon arrival in Xiamen, Tong Yao stepped out to call her mother, but her chat was delayed when she encountered a fan. Noticing her prolonged absence, Si Cheng went to find her. They embraced and kissed outside the hotel, unaware that Xiao Peng had witnessed the scene. Stunned, Xiao Peng accidentally dropped his drink bottle, breaking the moment. Realizing they'd been caught, Si Chen and Tong Yao cornered Xiao Pang. He was overwhelmed by the situation, promising to keep quiet but couldn't hide his curiosity. Upon returning to the hotel, the group encountered a middle-aged couple outside the entrance. Lao Ke stepped out of the car, and the couple began scolding him in their native dialect. Startled, Lao Ke's face darkened, and he turned away. Concerned, the team rushed to calm the couple while Lao Mao hurried after Lao Ke to console him. Xiao Rui spoke to Lao Ke's parents on behalf of the group. He soon discovered that they had come solely to ask for money. At that moment, Lao Ke appeared and said that with this money, they could comfortably build a big house or gamble freely. Then he left abruptly. His words left Xiao Rui visibly unsettled. Outside, Lao Ke removed his SIM card and discarded it in frustration. Seeing his distress, Tong Yao approached to console him. Lao Ke opened up about his feelings and apologized for his past behavior toward her, bringing them closer as friends. After comforting Lao Ke, Tong Yao visited Jin Yang. Witnessing her purchase of the YQCB team, Tong Yao could only marvel at her friend's wealth. Jin Yang also shared plans to host a carnival at their university, which they discussed briefly and finalized. Back at the base, Tong Yao mentioned the carnival to Xiao Rui, who was initially hesitant to attend. However, seeing Si Cheng's clear interest, Xiao Rui reluctantly agreed. At the university, junior students interviewed Ai Jia and Tong Yao. The questions were surprisingly sharp, but Tong Yao, accustomed to challenges, handled them flawlessly. When a question touched on Jin Yang and Ai Jia's relationship, Tong Yao hesitated, but Jin Yang took the mic and gave an emotional, heartfelt response that drew thunderous applause. Meanwhile, the ZGDX team was browsing online forums and stumbled upon posts confirming Tong Yao and Si Cheng's relationship. The team erupted in excitement and started teasing Tong Yao. Si Cheng eventually joined in, not stopping the banter but contributing to it. Frustrated, she stormed off. Later, the ZGDX team attended CK's match. The event organizers and commentators couldn't resist stirring things up when Tong Yao and Si Cheng were spotted in the crowd. The broadcast cameras zoomed in on them, and the fans cheered. Ultimately, they kissed publicly, much to the crowd's delight. The moment seemed to stop before everyone's eyes. Jian Yang, Tong Yao's ex-boyfriend, was so furious that he slammed his mouse, prompting his CK teammates to rush over to calm him down. That evening, Tong Yao and Jin Yang returned to their hotel room, only to see news about themselves on TV. Tong Yao, annoyed, turned off the TV and began venting to her friend. Instead of consoling her, Jin Yang joined in teasing her. At the ZGDX base, Tong Yao tried to distract herself by gaming. Meanwhile, Si Cheng received a call from his mother. To reassure her, he kissed Tong Yao in front of her. Si Cheng's mother arrived at the base shortly after. To shield Tong Yao, he took full responsibility for their relationship. Seeing her son's resolve, his mother had no choice but to let the matter rest for the moment, instructing the team to leave them alone for a private conversation. Surprisingly, the mother didn't criticize their relationship but instead reprimanded her son for his lack of integrity. With his mother's approval, CGDX's official account publicly announced the couple's relationship, expressing their full support. The announcement stirred up heated discussions among netizens. Upon learning the news, Jian Yang became visibly disappointed. Tong Yao boldly started a livestream to address the backlash from netizens. She responded firmly to the criticism, shedding her former timid demeanor, which brought a satisfied smile to Si Cheng's face. Tong Yao received a mysterious package from a fan. Upon opening it, she was horrified by its contents and accidentally cut her hand on a razor blade inside. Si Cheng immediately carried her aside to tend to her wound while others expressed their outrage on her behalf. Xiao Rui photographed the package as evidence and reported the incident to the police. Following this incident, the club benched Tong Yao for safety reasons. When Si Cheng heard about this, he lost his temper, slamming his tactical notebook to the ground before storming out. Si Cheng drove off in a fit of anger, leaving Tong Yao worried about his impulsive actions. She fell asleep and woke up to find Si Cheng lying next to her without her knowing. The two embraced tightly, finding comfort in each other's presence. The next day, CGDX faced CK in another match. On the battlefield, Si Cheng adopted an extremely aggressive playstyle, venting his pent-up anger through relentless attacks. The CK team was completely overwhelmed, suffering a crushing defeat at the hands of an unrelenting Si Cheng. Since the threatening package incident, he had grown noticeably colder, even toward Tong Yao. Struggling with her emotions, She got up to wash her face, trying to hide her tears. The mounting pressure made her question whether her relationship with Si Cheng was a mistake. She tended to her wounds while crying silently. Just then, Si Cheng walked in. She hurriedly wiped away her tears. Trying to appear unaffected, Tong Yao stubbornly tried to downplay her emotions when he asked about her condition. Without another word, he knelt and began carefully bandaging her hand. As he stood to leave, she suddenly rose and embraced him tightly, unleashing all her pent-up grievances. Seeing her like this, his initial frustration softened. He blamed himself for not protecting her better. He silenced her with a kiss and led her back to the bed, enveloping her in a comforting embrace. The next morning, a groggy Tong Yao woke to messages from her best friend. Opening the news, she saw that ZGDX's official account had issued a statement explaining her suspension. Meanwhile, netizens uncovered the identity of the person who sent the threatening package. The online community erupted into chaos, with some supporting Tong Yao and others criticizing the backlash against the culprit. The perpetrator, identified as Momo, released a tearful video apologizing to fans and revealing their struggles with depression. However, as Momo escalated their emotions and threatened to take sleeping pills, the controversy intensified. The situation spiraled, prompting ZGDX's management to devise measures to restore the team's reputation. However, Si Cheng strongly opposed these decisions, leading to a heated argument. Unable to resolve, he decided to handle the matter personally. He made a phone call and drove off without explanation. At the base, Yu Ming led the team in analyzing YQCB's strategies, but the atmosphere was tense. Si Cheng's absence weighed heavily on everyone. Just before a scheduled practice match, he returned in time but appeared physically and mentally drained. Tong Yao noticed him rubbing his hand and expressed concern, but he brushed it off. During the practice match, Si Cheng maintained his usual calm demeanor while issuing commands. However, his gameplay lacked precision, and he was quickly taken out. Although his teammates noticed something was off, no one dared to comment. The following morning, Tong Yao found him still downstairs, training through the night. She rushed to stop him, insisting he take a break. Reluctantly, he complied and went upstairs to freshen up. Meanwhile, anticipation for the upcoming match against YQCB grew. Before the match, she brought coffee to Si Cheng and Yu Ming, only to overhear snippets of their conversation outside the door. Just as she and Lao Mao tried to listen in, the broadcast announcement interrupted them. The game kicked off with calculated plays from both sides. YQCB capitalized on ZGDX's misstep, ending the game with a decisive push. Defeated, the ZGDX team was visibly demoralized. The loss exacerbated internal tensions, hinting at deeper issues brewing within the team. Yu Ming pointed out a few critical issues with the team's gameplay. After listening, Lu Sicheng explained why his strategy deviated from their usual approach. However, tensions were high. Lao Mao, still furious, slammed the table and stormed out. In the second match, carrying the weight of immense pressure, Si Cheng executed as much as he could, but it wasn't enough. YQCB capitalized on the moment, pushing into ZGDX's base and destroying their nexus. The loss left ZGDX's players staring at the shattered crystal, overwhelmed with conflicting emotions. During the post-game handshake, Zhao Huang revealed to Tong Yao that Si Cheng's hand injury had flared up again, urging her to take care of him. On the bus ride back to the base, the ZGDX team sat in silence, weighed down by their defeat. Xiao Rui tried to console the team, but his efforts proved futile. Unable to hold back, Lao Mao lashed out at Si Cheng with sharp words. As tensions escalated, Tong Yao revealed Si Cheng's hand injury to the team. While the revelation softened Lao Mao's stance, he still accused Si Cheng of not trusting his teammates. Deeply hurt, Lao Mao left the room. Tong Yao brought medicine to Si Cheng's room, but he refused to open the door. With no other option, she sat outside, keeping him silent company. Sitting outside Si Cheng's door, she started talking to him, encouraging him. Her words seemed to reach him. He then opened the door and pulled her into a tight embrace. The next day, he felt re-energized and began to regroup. He started by apologizing to the team. His heartfelt words dissolved lingering tensions, and the team members accepted his apology. All eyes turned to Lao Mao, who tried to maintain a stoic front but eventually broke down in tears. Hugging Si Cheng, the team's camaraderie was restored. The storm surrounding ZGDX had finally begun to calm. Si Cheng and Tong Yao were sweetly enjoying each other's company. Their bliss was interrupted by a call from Tong Yao's parents, who wanted to know more about Si Cheng. The couple decided to visit her parents over the weekend. When they arrived at her home, Cheng helped her father assemble a new computer, while she joined her mother in the kitchen. Her mother shared advice from her own experiences, trying to guide her daughter. That evening, she questioned Cheng about his conversation with her father. He teased her instead of answering seriously, eventually stealing a kiss. Elsewhere, Jin Yang and Ai spent a romantic night together, which escalated into a more intimate moment. With the knockout stage of the tournament approaching, all teams intensified their preparations, studying each other's strategies. As the match day arrived, Cheng comforted a nervous Tong Yao in the players' tunnel. CK's team captain, Jian Yang, crafted a strategy targeting Tong Yao with their bans. CGDX responded by banning heroes to counter Jian Yang. Lao Mao lightened the mood by jokingly singing a heroic tune, filling the team with laughter and camaraderie. The game began. With the team's good coordination, CGDX easily won the first half. During the break, Cheng went to the stairwell to eat candy and unexpectedly ran into Jian Yang, who was on the phone. The two rivals exchanged sharp, tension-filled glances with palpable animosity between them. The second match commenced, and this time, the CK team was not easily defeated. They turned the situation around, leading to tying the series 1-1. In the ZGDX lounge, Cheng and Tong Yao bickered like a couple, but their light-hearted exchanges were more like affectionate teasing, much to their teammates' amusement. In the deciding third match, CGDX set up a trap near Baron Nashor. CK fell for the bait, rushing into the fight unprepared. The ambush devastated CK, leaving only Jian Yang alive. With no way to contest, CGDX claimed victory and advanced to the semifinals. As Tong Yao and Cheng walked hand in hand toward their team, Jian Yang seemed to have an epiphany. He extended a handshake to Tong Yao, offering her genuine congratulations. The rivalry ended on a note of mutual respect and sincere well wishes. The next day, the ZGDX team arrived at their hotel near the competition venue to rest. Amid their banter, Jin Yang called Tong Yao to wish her a happy birthday. While Tong Yao was distracted on the phone, Xiao Peng wolfed down most of the snacks, only to suffer from sudden stomach pain that sent him to the hospital. After receiving treatment, he began to recover but immediately started craving biscuits. With no other choice, Cheng went out to buy food for him. At the store, while paying with the wallet Tong Yao had given him earlier, he realized it was her birthday. Tong Yao stood by the window, silently making a birthday wish. Suddenly, her teammates burst in, pushing a cake, Cheng holding a bouquet of red roses. Overwhelmed with joy, Tong Yao kissed Cheng, eliciting a chorus of cheers and teasing from the team. She closed her eyes to make a wish. Taking the opportunity, Cheng placed a necklace he had chosen on her neck, whispering a promise to marry her next year. Xiao Rui then handed out small protective charms he had prepared for everyone. The team shared heartfelt encouragement, vowing to claim the highest honor for their region. As the day of the finals arrived, the players waited in the tunnel. When the announcer introduced the teams, fans cheered passionately for their respective teams, creating an electric atmosphere as the grand finals officially began. As the grand finals were about to start, Tong Yao's parents sat eagerly in front of the TV, anticipating their daughter's stellar performance. CK team members gathered around their computer screens to cheer Tong Yao. The first two matches, both teams tied, had to wait until the third period to decide which team won the championship. Both teams were more cautious than ever. The match reached a fever pitch as YQCB's tight defense prevented ZGDX from advancing. At the 50-minute mark, exhaustion set in for both teams. Suddenly, Xiao Peng began singing a battle hymn, and the rest of ZGDX joined in, passing the song around like a relay. Shaking off their fatigue, in front of the enemy's outer turret, another intense team fight erupted. Just as ZGDX seemed to have the upper hand, Ai entered unstoppable mode, picking off ZGDX players one by one. Only Lao Mao and Lao Ke remained, desperately defending their base. At the critical moment, Tong Yao respawned and launched a counterattack, securing a triple kill. As the team's last hope, she charged forward, relentlessly attacking YQCB's crystal. YQCB's respawned players hurriedly tried to stop her, but it was too late. With one final attack, CGDX destroyed the enemy base and secured their ticket to the World Championship. As the match ended, cheers and applause erupted from the crowd. Overcome with emotion, Sicheng and Tong Yao kissed passionately on stage. Zhao Huang expressed his admiration for Cheng, and the two then shook hands. Meanwhile, noticing Jin Yang in the audience, Ai Jia jumped off the stage, swept his girlfriend into his arms, and kissed her deeply. Shortly after, they held their wedding. During the ceremony, Tong Yao, as the bridesmaid, caught the bouquet thrown by the bride. At that moment, Si Cheng, dressed impeccably as the groom-to-be, stepped out from the crowd with a smile. This marks the happy ending of drama. If you'd like to see more dramas like this, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and let us know in the comments how you liked this drama.